Welcome to Becoming Uncommon. I'm Coach Richardson, and this is my podcast where I look to explore the depths of becoming the greatest coach and leader you can possibly be. And my guest today is Hassan Ilyas. And to give a little background with Hassan, he was one of my former athletes, trusted me to come to Compton College in my first year there. Then followed me and went with me to Cerritos College, then eventually went on to Central Missouri, where he continued his athletic career. Our relationship has taken many twists and turns. Yeah. What I'm looking at today is, obviously we have our athletic stuff and our coach-athlete relationship. Yeah. But few might know that we're business partners at one time. Yeah. And, obviously that relationship between coach-athlete got a lot deeper, and I'm hugely grateful for everything that we got to encounter and work with. But go ahead and let's maybe update me on what you've been doing like post-college and kind of all the way up to now. Yeah.
So post-college, I was maybe you remember this, but I was working for a company called Car Trackers where I was in different cars all the time. I don't know if you remember. I never had my own car.
I remember you picked me up in a Rolls Royce.
I did. My boss actually lost a bet with me, and I put 1,000 miles in 1 week on that car. He almost killed me afterwards, but I won the bet. Actually, my dream car at that time was a Rolls Royce. After driving that week, I knew I couldn't do it. Everybody was looking at me. Literally, it doesn't matter where you go. It was just too much. Yeah. Maybe one day later. I was working for post-college, I was working for a car company called Car Trackers. They're a vehicle acquisition company. I was there for 10 years. I left that company in 2020. I started my own marketing company that same year, later down that year, and I got deep into marketing. At that time, it was heavy in e-commerce, in nonprofit fundraising, and just regular random local lead gen for other companies. And now, fast forward, we are very heavy in dealership marketing. And I'm still running my marketing agency today.
All right.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, and I have a faint memory, but very unorthodox young man when I first met him. Like dyed hair, funky clothes. What do you think got you to be what we would from the outside, where you felt like you were kind of the outlier, or you were open and willing to stray away from the norm?
Yes, I had crazy hair back then. One of the reasons why I used to do that is when I was running in high school, I wanted to be noticed. I was like, okay, there's a lot of kids that are great, or there's from a competition aspect, like they're really good athletes, or maybe they have better, faster times than me. But there's also kids that maybe we're at the same level. What can I do to differentiate myself? Maybe the hair wasn't the right thing to do, but I was like, man, if I can get out more in front of more people, like I might have to do something like crazy, but if I can get attention and more people can hear about me or know about me, then I can maybe land a better opportunity for myself.
So you're into marketing early.
You know what? Yeah. Because I remember I was like, there was this guy that used to interview kids after the races. It's like, man, like I want to get interviewed. Like, hear my story, and then people will know about me a little bit more. Maybe I get an offer to go somewhere. And he finally interviewed me. He interviewed me at it wasn't CIF finals. It was CIF prelims at like Trabuco Canyon, I think. And I don't even know where the video for that went, but I remember there was like he did an article about it. It was called Patch. That was like the whatever he was coming from. But it wasn't actually always like that. So I actually, from majority of my life, I tried to fit in all my life. So I came from Islamic school, where I think preschool and kindergarten, went to Islamic school. Then I went to regular public school for the rest of my life. And I was just like the only brown kid. I don't know. I just knew that I was not like everybody else. So one thing I took up very quickly was humor. I knew if I made people laugh, then they'll like me, and then I'll fit in. But it was it's been a double-edged sword, because sometimes people could be laughing at you, not with you. And this thing, I just wanted to fit in whichever way I could. So like, what could help me fit in? Oh, if I make somebody laugh, they're gonna think I'm funny, so now I'm cool. Or oh, maybe I'm tough. If I get in fights and I can show that I'm strong, then like I'll be accepted as like a macho man. Oh, if I get really good at sports, people are gonna think I'm an athlete and now I'm cool. That was like majority of my life until there was a moment in high school where my sister got me Jordan slides. Very weird story, but my sister got me Jordan slides, and I never wanted to wear them to school because I was like, oh man, if you wear, people are gonna judge you if you wear like sandals to school. It's gonna be like, I don't want that. It's fine. I want to fit in, whatever. And one day, I don't know if I was running late or something, or I just decided I was like, oh, I'm gonna wear it. I wore them to school. Some random person was like, wow, dude, I like, those are some cool slides. And it was like, I think that moment I was like, oh, I think it's not that they said that it looked cool, but I think it's okay to be me. Mm-hmm. And from then on, I really leaned into being me. Like I got like a lot of the other sports I was playing, I stopped playing other sports. And I was like, dude, I want to, whichever way I have to do this, let's do it. I can be loud and that's okay. So, yeah.
But, when it comes to taking that step outside of things, like, kind of fast forwarding now, kind of going through high school, taking some of those risks, like, I think that probably one of the most turning point times was like going to Compton College.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this extensively in different areas, but one thing that, I've learned a lot about, how you come up with that decision.
Yeah.
But when you reflect back on, the kind of the peer side of it, like how it looked to your peers, did you ever think about that?
I did to a certain extent. This might get a little bit weird, but when I was in high school, towards the ending of my high school career, I started getting really good. And it was this weird thing where I felt like even people that were close to me, like, I don't know. Have you ever heard this thing like called crabs in a bucket? Mm-hmm. Where like you see somebody else succeeding, the crab sees, and they're like, oh, they pull that crab back down. And I would have these weird moments, maybe they're true, they're not true, where I felt like I was kind of getting pulled down in weird ways. And I kind of started, personally, I kind of started distancing myself from some things. So like people's view of me or thoughts of me, it didn't affect me as much, even if there were people that were close to me. There were a few people where like, okay, if he tells me this or if she tells me this, I'm going to listen because I know that trust was built there, and they want me to win as much as I want to win. Yeah. They see something maybe I haven't seen yet, but I'm trusting them with that. So it still hurt though because I was young, I was in high school, and people did make fun of me. I had really good grades. I was supposed to go to like some good school. I wanted to actually go to ASU. Cal Middlebrooks was going to ASU, and I was like, oh, I can go to ASU. And I remember the standards at that time. I don't know. I looked at it. I was a 300-meter hurdler at that time. Whatever it was, I was like, oh, I'm going to work towards this. And then I looked at it again at the end of senior year, and I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot. That the standards changed or something. So that was like out of the question. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do it. And that didn't end up happening. And it depends on who the peer was, right? So there are some things like that still hurt that people close to me maybe said to me or did. But going to Compton, it was one of the best decisions I ever made. And I kind of drowned out that noise because I knew like the people that I was going with, I trusted you a lot. And I was like, I'm going to go for it. Even my own head coach of who I spent 4 years with, I went against what he said. But I knew in my heart, I was like, dude, I got to do this, man. Like, that's like, if I got to go somewhere, it's like, how Batman went to wherever he trained, but he went somewhere and then he came back and he was Batman. I was like, dude, okay, this doesn't, like, to the normal person, this is probably wrong, but I think it's right for me.
Yeah, because
my dad was,
yeah.
Oh my, he didn't even come. He never went.
I know.
Like, no.
Yeah. I remember. It was tough because it was left turn, like the ultimate left turn. Coming from Fountain Valley, I don't think there's ever been anybody that ever go take a class.
Yeah, 100%.
But it kind of gets me to a conversation that we had that I remember. Like, a lot of the stuff, like my interaction with you in high school and at Compton, a little bit more vivid, but
Yeah.
this one is probably the most vivid. I was stacking hurdles. I don't know if I was setting them up or putting them away.
Okay.
I was talking to you, and we had a real conversation.
Yeah.
And I was talking to you about finding your why. I was like, and I kind of brought up the fact that you're privileged in some way, like you had a lot of opportunities, and that if you want to get to where you want to go, that you have to change the way you did things. You have to figure out why for you. And like, it's so vivid for me.
Wow.
Because I was really kind of like talking to myself, because mind you, I was maybe 27 at the time, right?
Wow.
I'm still learning. And while I'm talking to you, I'm really kind of talking to myself, like, what is your why? Like, that's the first kind of cognition to where it became the idea of know your why, like have your ethos, like what is your true deep. And I don't know if you remember that, but when it comes to that time at Cerritos, when you're kind of getting ready to go, kind of figuring out, I still can't remember how you ended up at Central Missouri.
That was actually a very difficult year for me. So like, I feel like majority of my life, I have been processing L's. Like, I remember the biggest thing that I wanted to do in high school is I wanted to go to state. I don't know if I wanted to win state, but I wanted to go to state. I got last place at the Masters meet. And that whole year, like when I tell you I used to throw away the medals, like I didn't care. I was like, I just got to go. I cried my eyes out like there was no tomorrow. Like that was the end of the world. That was the end of the world, right? Then I went to Compton. I kind of felt like like everyone thought I was like, but I had to like still zone in. But like that was like another L. And at that time as well, I know you believed in me, and you told me like at that early age, you're like, oh, I know you can score 7,000. As a decathlete, I put it in my head, and I was like, that was me in my head. I wasn't there like. By the way, I think I was capable of doing it. I don't think I was mentally there yet. Like, I knew I had the assets to do it. You're like, hey, Hassan, you can do this. Boom, put this together. But also, it was very difficult for me because the level that you were, or like respected as a coach at that time, like I knew I had the best coach, the best training, and I bombed it at the SoCal prelims or finals, whatever, at Compton. I was supposed to win that meet. Like that was the goal, was to win that meet. And it was like, I don't know, I forgot how to throw discus. Like it was so, I mean, it was
Cerritos.
At Cerritos, yeah. And then I don't know if you remember, but then like we tried to have a strategy for the 1500, and then the gun went off, and then we did a 300, but then like the timing was messed up, so we had to start again. And like, it was just, when I think about those moments, I remember that day, I cried my eyes out so bad. I was sitting in the corner where like, where there's that javelin thing where I sat there on the bench, and coach, who was the other coach at Cerritos? Coach
Wells, Higgins.
No. One more name.
That's still there, Allen.
Coach Allen. Coach Allen was heavily recruiting me, I remember, at Cerritos, and I told him I was going to go, and I ended up going with you.
Compton,
And I remember he came, sat with me, and I thought he'd hate me because I felt so weird about like I was at Compton, and he's like, "Hey man, it's okay." It's like, it's gonna be okay. And that was a big, and it was just very embarrassing for me. I don't know, and maybe nobody knew how embarrassing it was, but like it hurt me very bad. And then we ended up doing like open events. I ended up getting a high ankle sprain, couldn't really finish out that season, and I thought I was gonna get recruited that year. I was trying to go to what was that place in Iowa with that coach?
With Travis?
No, it was Cedar Rapids.
You're talking about, Travis when he was at Central or Northern Iowa.
Northern Iowa.
Yeah, UNI.
And what was the other coach's name? Bald guy. He did
Raven.
He
Cepeda?
did bobsled as well. If I say his name, you'll remember.
Yeah.
But I remember I went there, and I wasn't smart enough to know that I was doing the wrong things. Like I went there, and I played a prank on him. So I remember I was built up. You had told me, like, you had told him, I'm forgetting his name. He had a stroke too.
Oh, you went to
UNI? University of
no,
UNI.
that was Coach Steele. He used to coach
Dan
at
Steele, Coach Steele.
yeah Steele. He used to be at Oregon. He was started with Ashton Eaton.
Yes,
and
yes.
he went to
It was UNI. It was
yeah
UNI.
yeah yeah. He got there after Travis went to Arkansas.
Yeah, correct. So like he was like, okay, Rich told me about this kid, like this is the real deal. And I remember I went and it was like my first. It was so cool, and I was just an idiot, man. I remember like so we
You played a prank on him.
so stupid. Honestly, dumbest thing I should have never done it.
What did you do?
I was with some of the kids and I was like, so you know how they take the athletes out and stuff, and I was like, I don't know how we even got there. But I was like, oh, why don't we play a prank on him that like I got lost at a party and like I don't know where I'm at and like someone needs to pick me up. And I called him at night and I did that. And then I know me telling this story right now. Literally the whole trip changed after that. And I was like, oh, I was just joking. And like I remember after doing it, and this was like I told you, I tried fitting in.
Yeah.
It's the same issues I used to have when I was younger. I remember after I called and I was saying it on the phone to him, the other athletes were looking like, oh my gosh, he's actually doing it. Right? Another micro lesson I learned were like, dude, I don't have to do that kind of stuff. Anyways, I remember him driving me off to the airport and I was like, anyways, I remember that year at, so that happened. UNI was off the table and that was like my other failure because I couldn't jump. I couldn't do anything about I never had a high ankle sprain in my life. I was like, I couldn't do anything. And I didn't have anything else to do. So I was like, okay, then I'm going to have to go to Cerritos. Like I already thought I was going to be at some big university and I thought that 1 year was going to be enough for me. Wasn't enough for me. And I went to Cerritos and oh man, Cerritos was extremely difficult. I redshirted. Yeah. I didn't want to be part of Cerritos for some reason. It was I think the hardest thing for me was that I wasn't able to compete at my potential. Very difficult. And I remember I used to go to meets and I was okay with I was okay with being the worst on the team. I would take my transcripts with me to like Mount Sac relays and I would take it to every single coach. And I remember one coach saw that I was doing that and he was like he's going to every coach, like he's that thirsty. I would try to be on the Wisconsin team with what's his name, Zeke. Yeah. That guy was there at the time. Yeah. I remember I told the coach, I was like, dude, I don't care if I'm dead last. I don't care if I'm the worst person. Like I just want to be a part. Like I'll work the hardest, like whatever it takes. And I couldn't get anything. And somehow, some way, towards the ending of the year, like I ended up having like one good-ish decathlon. I was putting a few things together, but it wasn't there yet. But I also realized like I have time. Like this idea of like I have to be at like a D1 and all that kind of like left me. And I think because I was like I came to terms that I needed more time. Yeah. Then met Kip. I don't know how that came about. I don't know what you said, who you called.
I mean, the biggest thing, like I said, I don't have a lot of vivid memories. That conversation was one. Yeah. But then also knowing I had to like reel you back in, like and it was hard, but it was like always like I had to reel you back in. Yeah. And I was spread thin, but at the same time, like I had my hook on you. Yeah. It's just, but like you never like stayed in line. Like and like when you look back, like what you were talking about, the maturation of like to match your physical ability, like your maturity has to be there. Yeah. Because if your ability outweighs your maturity, you'll never do anything, and if you do, you're going to lose it. Yeah. Like you're going to mess it up for sure.
That's what actually that hurt me the most, where like in my head, I knew because I worked with you, whoever I ever worked with, if somebody told me that I could do something, I 100% believed it. I was like, okay, now I just need to do it. 7,000, it's already done in my head, but I need to do it. But because I can't do it, that's what like hurt me.
But like when you talk about going from Southern California, being Muslim, going to the Bible Belt.
Yes.
Like that is like, so if you're looking at societal outlier, going from Fountain Valley, where what is the motto of Fountain Valley? The nicest place in the world? A nice
place to live.
Or something like that. The nicest place in the world. To Compton, right? Yeah. With the persona or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Then coming from, all right, Southern California, and having all this diversity and
Yeah.
acceptance of like different cultures to a place that's not known for
Yeah.
diversity, especially when it comes to your religion. Like, no,
Yeah.
it's not the Bible Belt on accident.
Yeah.
Like, were you aware of that?
Kind of. I had a really good conversation with Kip, and I felt that he believed in me, right? So that was one thing where I was like, I never visited there before. I just ended up going there. But I remember my parents were like, so like when we go for prayer on Fridays, I wear like those long robes, right? My parents were like, oh, don't go out, don't take those clothes with you. And I was like, they're like, hey, you know you're going to the middle of nowhere. Like, I don't know if it's safe. And I was like, so they kind of put a thought in my head like, oh, maybe it's not safe. And then it was very unorthodox. You know, like you said, becoming this. I think now that you're like lining it up like this, it's very uncommon. Like not going to Compton. Why?
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't make sense. Even I know it doesn't make sense.
And like going to Missouri. Like I remember even when I was at Central Missouri, Warrensburg, Missouri. It's like an hour and a half from Kansas City. It's like it's in the middle of nowhere as well. I remember when I was there, people were like, "Why are you here?" I was like, "I'm from California," and
a mile away from the beach.
There was a place in Missouri called there's California, Missouri.
Okay.
And they're like, "Oh, you're from California," and I was like, "No, I'm from California," and they're like, "What? What?" They didn't understand. But in my head at that time, when I realized like I have always had this thing now where like I want to do whatever it takes to like if I have a dream, I just want to go for it, man. Like, and I'm older now where if I don't hit my goal, it's not the end of the world compared to as back then, I thought that was a thing. Like once you achieve whatever you want to achieve, that's success, that's happiness. But now through this process, I've realized like I'll do whatever it takes to, you know, do my best to get to that end goal of my dream. But the actual happiness, when I look back at all these uncommon things, is that journey, that process. Like I look back, I was like, that's so, like, I became, like, who I became at Compton, what I learned, amazing. How difficult it was at Cerritos, I needed that. UCM, University of Central Missouri, I remember when you told me, you laughed and you're like, oh, Kip, yeah, he's going to make you run. And that was, like, a funny thing. And he had that, like, little nervous kind of, like, evil-ish laugh. The first day I went there, I didn't understand what humidity was. No idea. They were doing, I think they were doing 800-meter repeats. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to go for it. So like when the sweat stays on you and you like overheat. And I went with the fastest group and I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm fine. And they're like, hey, Hassan, are you okay? I was like, yeah. I was dead, dying. And I was like, whoa, this is the work ethic in Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
And also they don't talk trash or anything like that. They just work. Yeah. That's it.
Just work.
But one of the reasons I went there, right? Religion, whatever, like first, like literally just took a flight with my brother and I just moved everything there. I was the first child in the family to move away from school. For school. My sister she married and she was living in Saudi Arabia because her husband was going to school there. But same time, I was like the first one just for school, like going that far. I realized Kip was like, oh, there's people from all around the world that come here. And they train in the decathlon, in the multi-events. And I was like, I need to be there. My dream, like I need to go there. And that's literally all I did. I tried to figure out any excuse I could to miss class. I was a good student, so like I was fine. But we would sleep, go to classes, attempt to go to some classes, and I would train. We would train for like 6-7 hours, and it'd be long too. Like we'd go throw, and then we go do hurdles. We do a running workout. We go to the gym. We stretch. Then we go and we call it the caf. We go to the cafeteria and we just eat for the next 3 hours. And that was that was so awesome. Mm. And I think, as you get older, when you do things outside of college, you have no idea how made things are for you. Like stress, as an example. Oh, yeah. The stresses of life, you don't really understand that. In high school, you're like, oh, I'm running track. Or you're doing the sport. And then you're like, hey, you have to pay bills too. Oh, also you got to pay taxes. Hey, also, what are you going to eat tomorrow? Like, and that makes, so like when I was, you don't worry about anything. Literally nothing. So to answer your question, I was okay with it because I knew this was part of my dream. Like I might have to do things that I knew it was not, people may judge it, but for me, I knew this was a right thing to do.
Yeah. So looking back now, like, obviously making that transition out, and we're going to touch back on that journey being at Central Missouri, like, because there was some bumps in the road there.
Yeah.
But now looking at it like from a professional standpoint, like, because what values do you take away now that you put into your business practices from some of those, like whether you recognize them as like, outlier or uncommon pathways and steps, like, because not everybody's a risk taker. Like, like obviously you've been comfortable with taking what might seem like major risk, right? Or taking gambles or going outside of the lines. But like, how is that good and bad? Like, how is that impacting you from a business standpoint?
I think because, this is how I view this, but I think because I failed so much in my life, I feel that the things that maybe in my head I didn't get to, they didn't come to fruition. I think because I was processing so many L's, like this fear of failure, when I look back, I was like, I mean, it was bad, but it's not that bad. It's not like I'm not dead. Like, what was it? Like, I feel like what a lot, something that stops a lot of people is their fear of failure. But I really, at one point in my life, I really unpacked that. What does that mean if I fail? Like, actually, what does it mean if I fail in Fountain Valley, California? I know not everyone has this opportunity, but for instance, if I fail, I can move into my brother's house. I can move back to my parents.
When did you unpack that?
What's up?
When did you unpack that?
It was sometime in Missouri.
Okay.
Because I was doing a lot of personal development too. Like I used to read a lot of books. I used to go to Tony Robbins seminars. I had a mentor. Like, I liked the personal development side because that's actually where I lacked. When I was younger, I lacked self-confidence. So I had this mental game. I really wanted to understand like the athlete's mind and like pushing. And a lot of things had to do with business too. And I was like, why are they talking about business? I'm trying to be a better athlete. But it all comes together. And I think because I was failing so much, it helped me realize like, oh, it's okay to fail. Like it's not the end of the world. Like that doesn't mean, and also that doesn't mean you're a failure. What does it mean to be a failure? Right? And I think because of those things, I was okay with doing things that like, okay, what is it actually going to be the end of the world? And I think now when I look at risk, like how risky is something? Like if I do this, is my family going to die? Like it's just like, it's not as, in my head, it's not that risky. And also, I think what has helped me is the timeline I give myself to do things. I remember in high school, we like wrote a letter to ourselves and you get to see it in like 10 years, whatever it was. At that time, I was like, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire at 25. Right? And I remember at 25, I was looking at my bank account, I was like, I'm a loser.
You're short?
Short.
Okay.
But what is this like? Why do we have this like time limit on some things? It didn't make, I don't know why I had those. And once I took that time limit off, so even like with my marketing company, I started in 2020. I told myself 10 years, make as many mistakes you want, but give yourself 10 years, give yourself some time. Like if you try rushing it and why does it have to be at year 3, you're making $500K a year, right? Right. You've been a coach now for 20 years. You give yourself some time. And I feel like if I can just give myself a little bit more time, it'll be okay. You can, it's okay. Hey, I give myself 10 years, fail, it's fine. It's part of it.
And I had that revelation when I wanted to be a Team USA coach. I wanted to be a mover and shaker, and I wanted it now. Like because I thought that was like, that's how you identify yourself as a good coach. You're a Team USA coach, you're a good coach. Yeah. And I was moving and shaking, and I had somebody kind of, I'm happy for it now, but at the time, like I never had somebody check. Like he was like, "That's not how you do it, man." And it kind of put perspective. I was like, "It will happen if it happens, and if I try to manipulate the situation or try to move and shake too much, especially because it is that valuable that it's. And if I do obtain it, I must have not have attained it the right way, right? So I put value on the amount of time it takes to do something. So if it's really good, if it's really worth it, it's gonna take some time. And I'm just as impatient as the next.
Some things just take time. That's just, it is what it is, and that, it's also like, you can compare yourself to a rapper. That's what I used to do. I was like, once I found out how a rapper. Like, you know,
Okay.
like these guys, or even basketball players. Once you find out how much they make and what age they are, you're like, you look at yourself, you're like, wait, what? Like, they're the same age or maybe even younger. And they're like, and I think like letting go of this like comparison it's just different. There's people, it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Some people can do the decathlon and score 7,500 their first year. Other people might never do that, and that's okay. Just people, it's okay to be different.
But like, how do you gauge the comparison game? Because it's something that just came up to me right now is that comparison early on is good because like you need something to strive towards.
Yep.
But then comparison later is not as good because you have to realize you're on a different journey. You're a different
100%.
person with different circumstances.
It's a double-edged sword. One thing my mentor told me is comparison is a thief of joy.
Yeah.
If you compare and you realize that you're comparing to the extent where it's detrimental to you, maybe you shouldn't be comparing. There has to be a level of balance there, and it depends. Every person's different. Some people can compare and it's good for them. Other people cannot do it.
But wouldn't you say like compare, like if you're coming up, like you said, like you looked up to certain people, and you want to compare your journey to theirs because you want to align, right? So maybe early on, comparison could have value to kind of be a, kind of calibrate where you are and what you need to do to get somewhere. And as you go about it, the timeline, I think, in comparison.
I think I think the comparison throughout the whole journey is okay, as long as you're aware of the effect it has on you, which a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Because people compare and they hurt themselves. They actually are hurting themselves.
Perspective.
Yeah.
I think that's, and I'm finding myself when I'm working with a lot of students and things like that, I'm feeling I have to introduce the concept of perspective.
Yeah.
Like, be aware of your journey. Like, this is your journey, and that's
100%,
okay.
100%.
Like, circumstances, and it might not seem like the way you wanted it to be, but you have to have perspective of your circumstance versus maybe the comparison or what you maybe even thought of as that next move.
I will say now, for just talking about comparison in today's age, I think comparison is actually overall probably bad.
Yeah.
For a majority of people, because of the environment people are being raised in right now. I think there's way more negativity in the world. I don't think people inherently want other people to win. So like, I think when they start comparing, it's brewing, it's not coming from a good spot inside.
Like preying on their downfall.
100%.
Yeah.
Because now you don't have that, or I don't have that, I don't want you to have it either.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not the kind of comparison. So I think if we're in a more healthy, positive society, I think comparison could be good. But for many people,
you're talking about like a utopia. Maybe we can compare to kind of guy.
But there, I mean, you look at like Michael Jordan, like he's kind of like sick in his head, right? There are like some things when you really unpack it, it's like, it worked for him. I don't know if it was good for him, but like, so like, you have to understand yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, for you right now in the business world, like, taking some of the values and lessons that you learned as an athlete, understanding like the uncommon path. Have you been faced with situations where now you look back and you're like, dang, I should have done it this way because that's my essence, and you kind of went against maybe your natural instinct to maybe take risk or go against the grain in some ways? Like, have you ever like kind of just fallen in line and like look back and like, dang, I should have followed my instinct?
All the time. I think, one thing that business has shown me is it's exposed things that I've struggled with in my personal life. So like my business is a reflection of things that I struggle with. So for instance, like, it's probably better for me to say no than it is to say yes. Right? So like coming up, like for instance, because I want to please people, there's like in this yes thing, right? So like in business, that's like the worst thing you can do. You have to say no to things, right? And also, like, I guess in today's world, like, it's common, you're going to say yes. It's actually uncommon to say, hey, no, I don't want to do this. I don't have to say yes. So I think if I stuck with my gut on some things where I knew, like, I should have just said no. Because, sometimes, like, you'll get in a pinch sometimes. Sometimes you're like, okay, I need cash flow as an example. And you're like, okay, this is going to be a client from hell. 100%, it's going to be the worst thing ever, but I know it's going to pay the bills for the next 3 months, right? And you're telling yourself there, hey, no, it's okay. Dude, you're in month 1.5 and you're like, I should have said no. I didn't need the money that bad. Why did I do that? And it goes back to like trusting your gut, and that's something I think I did in athletics a lot, and I kind of steered away from that. But it's just like a reminder again. Hey, Hassan, you feel it? It's actually, hey, tune in. You feel this? Let's try to understand it a little bit more. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's actually go down this path, right? So, yeah, saying no, I need to do that more often. But yeah, definitely it happens all the time, and I think it's okay to do things your own way.
Yeah. And so I'm going to go to setbacks, right?
Yeah.
And you face what is the most catastrophic thing for an athlete, right? Is like you brought up the ankle sprain, but you had some major, setbacks on the physical side while you're at Central Missouri. Can you go through some of those?
Yeah. I remember you're saying, we're going to go back to like some events. I actually, not that I forgot, but like I forgot that was part of my journey there too. So I'm like, halfway across the U.S., my family, like I grew up with my family all my life. It was very difficult for me. I was homesick. Going into the second year, so I burnt out my first year. I didn't know what burnout was, but physically I burned out. I lost strength. I didn't have any more juice. And my coach, Curtis Brondike, and Coach Kip, but I work with Curtis a lot. He's like, hey, you need to gain weight. You need to gain weight. He said, stop running. Don't run it all the summer. Eat pizza. Do whatever you need to. Dirty bulk, whatever. But you're going to be on this really heavy weightlifting program. And I gained 20 pounds. I came back, people were making fun of me, like, oh my gosh, you have like a little belly now. What? And I was like, Curtis, I did what you told me to do. And he's like, no, you're fine, it's okay. So that year going in, like I had a really good first year. I was able to go to NCAA indoors. It was like a fun time for me. And then the ending of the year, I just kind of like, I was done. So I knew I gained 20 pounds, I'm stronger now. And I was actually pretty strong going into that year. And that year, things were just not lining up. Like, I was getting sick going into meets. I was very self-conscious. Like, I was like 185. I mean, like, I used to compete at like, during like peak season, sometimes I get down to like 150, like 6'2" and 150. Like, so I kind of understood that I needed to get stronger. But yeah, I remember I used to message my sister and I was like, something's wrong. I don't know if I'm not supposed to be doing good right now. I don't know. Something's wrong. Like, or maybe this is my way of it should be done. Like, the other thing that happened, which was crazy, was I watched a documentary at UCM called Going for Glory or Going for Gold, something like that. And it's all these like European athletes that sacrificed everything and they have their gold medals and like someone's like missing a foot.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, was it worth it? And they're like, oh, yes, it was worth it. And I looked at it and I was like, no way, that's not worth it. And they were talking about like all these things like NSAIDs as an example, taking Tylenol and Motrin. I used to take 1,200 milligrams of Tylenol and Motrin every single day since high school, just to train, just to work out, just to compete. Can you believe that? Almost for 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, religiously. Only way I could compete. I watched that. I went cold turkey the next day, and my body lit up like a Christmas tree. Like Christmas tree. You remember Nike Freeze when Nike Freeze first came out? I wore them one time at Cerritos. The first time I wore them, they hurt so bad. And I didn't realize that was telling me, oh, you're probably doing stuff wrong. Yeah. And it's just like, I didn't know. I just stopped wearing them. So I didn't realize how broken I actually was. And I had this thing of like, I want to just work hard. I'll do whatever it takes. I want to hit my dream. And I, one practice, just feeling so bad that day. I just like didn't feel good. And I remember before the rep, I was like, whatever. I like yelled out loud and I was like, oh, whatever, I'm gonna go for it. And I went, we were doing like 5-step drills and like on the like 8th hurdle, my knee buckled. I went on the floor, started screaming at the top of my lungs, and everyone thought I was like joking. And then they're like, oh shoot, Hassan's actually hurt. Tore my ACL and my meniscus. And this was like, when I say devastating, like that's the first time I had to go, I fell into deep depression. I had to go to the school counselor. It was bad. It was my older brother came to visit me and I didn't care about school. I didn't care about anything, man. I was like, and I was also the positive kid. I was like, oh, and people would mess with me, oh, Hassan, if anyone's going to go through this, it'd be you. You're fine. You can get through this. And I was like, dude, I don't want it. Like, I don't want any of this right now. And that year was very, very difficult year. Like, I don't know how, somehow got through that. The year after that, I was finishing I was able to do a decathlon. And I remember because I was very close. When I used to compete, I really started getting into like I used to have fun. I would like get to know the parents, everybody. We just have a really good time. And I remember I could hear people like from stands or kind of like close conversations. They're like, "Oh, he's not the same anymore." But like, let's be nice to him. Like, he's trying though. And it was I just remember those things, and I was like, "Yeah, this is crazy." I don't know what. Like, anyways, that year I still wanted to continue and train. So I don't know if I ever told you this, but as I was graduating in Missouri, I paid for my rent in advance for the year for my house that I was staying at. Because like I'm going to post-collegiate start training. Paid my rent. 2 weeks later, I blew out my other ACL.
Yeah.
And this one was ACL, both meniscus, like whichever one was over here, MCL or whatever it was. And that one was bad. That one felt like a chicken bone. Like it was just a bad one. And that was very difficult because I was very tied to the identity of being an athlete. And that was like, I was like, oh, I think I'm done forever. It's done. And I remember I just moved back home. I had surgery and moved back home. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to work now. I know how to make money. I'll just make money. And I was like literally working like every single day. I would just work. I was making good money at that time. I was like 23, 24. I don't know. I was making good money. Blew all of it too. But that's like, I didn't care. That was just like my way of like, forget it. And then I started rehabbing with Dr. Lum and I started feeling good again, man. But that put me on this path where, super on a different tangent, but like I started realizing like something was wrong with my body. Like, was the ACL a problem or was it a symptom of something else? The other ACL goes out. What's actually wrong? And then I went like in a very deep journey of trying to figure out what was wrong. But it made me stronger. If I didn't go through the first ACL surgery, I wouldn't have been able to get through the second surgery. And looking back at it, it's part of the process. I don't know.
Because I remember, I think it was right before the second tear.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with you.
Yeah.
And I think you had sent me hurdle videos or we were talking about it and you're like, I'm rolling.
Oh yeah, I was. Oh yes.
I'm rolling.
Yeah, I remember I showed you, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, this actually looks good. Yeah. This is good. This is like."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I remember that because then the next thing is like,
It was difficult because I was tasting it, and I knew I was on the right path. Like I knew I was like so close. That's part of it. I can't. There's some things you just can't. You can't control. And I think through that process, even the past like 6 or 7 years, like I've attempted to go back and compete again, and I think now I'm like I want to do things the right way. I've worked so hard, and I realized that like I was hurting myself. So now it's like if I ever do go back and do it, like I just want to whatever I can do. Like I'm happy now with whatever happens.
Yeah, but what I want to touch a couple things. Staying on those specific injuries. What are some things that you think a coach or like even like if I reached out to you like, hey, hope you're feeling better. Like you look back, what are some things that like you said, oh, you can do it or you'll get through it or what are some things that you look back you wish you would have heard or you wish would have been done for you to help you get over those obstacles or get through those valleys?
Yeah. So I don't know the answer, but I will say that first one, I was in deep depression. I would cry to the trainers. Like I was, but people were reaching out to me and saying like, hey, it's okay. I didn't want to leave my house. Like, and also the narcotics that they give you afterwards, they mess with my head so much. So that but what helped me during that time was, even the people that I was like, even my coaches, the people that I was kind of pushing away that were the right people, they didn't stop.
Persistence.
Like they didn't give up, and they knew like, and I think that's what like, I've gone through many difficult phases of my life, and the people that just didn't give up, maybe I push you away, right? But you realize like, hey, you know what? He's not in his senses right now. This is like what's going on. This is what's going on. His environment is making him like this, right? And not taking it personal, right? I mean, I said some things that I maybe shouldn't. I was so gone. But like the coaches didn't give up. Like Curtis Brondike, he coaches at have you met Curtis before? You met Curtis, yeah. He coaches in Iowa now. Hawkeye. I don't know. He's one of those schools, but he was a very dear friend and coach, and he was very supportive through that time. Very supportive, and I still tried to, the, attend like the events, and like it was very difficult for me, but people didn't give up. So I think as a coach, like, there's going to be times where your athletes go through very difficult periods in their life. What it might be athletics related, or it might be their mom just passed away. I don't know, and maybe they go dark, right? And who knows? Maybe what you said at that time, 5 years later, it actually ended up making sense for them. I don't know. You never know, right? But I think just not giving up on that kid.
Yeah, because I think it's always a tough thing for coaches because there's so much out of your control. I think, at least for me as a coach, I want to control as much as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And I want to fix as many possible things as I can. And there's some things you just can't.
Yeah.
And it is hard to, be in those situations where you want to help, you want to provide value, but it's just out of your control.
Yeah.
And so I know that a lot of coaches kind of find themselves in those kind of situations. And I find myself in those situations where it is kind of out of your control, but knowing the value of being there and like that persistence, I think is one thing that I took out of that is just be persistent, be consistent with the level of care for the individual, despite.
I think so. Like as a coach, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but like you've probably seen a lot of people in their like ebbs and flow of life, and maybe on the dark times. I think like as a coach, you probably know what that person needs because you've probably seen it before. So maybe you ask them, you're like, "Oh, what do you need right now?" Like, "Oh, I don't need anything." But you probably know, like, "No, I'm gonna be here anyways. We're gonna watch TV together. It's okay." Right? Maybe I might hate you like, "Oh, you idiot," but like secretly I might actually need that, right? So I feel like coaches know that. How many of them will do it? I don't know.
Yeah. And that's the thing, I think, like being able to know as a coach that you got to be more than the X's and O's. You got to be more than the technical things. You got to really expand yourself beyond, especially if you want to build that relationship and be a positive impact on that person.
100%.
But for you personally, like as you look forward to like your future endeavors and things like that, taking all those things into play, are you more likely to kind of take those risks or go against the grain with some of the things, or like how do you see that now, like looking at the future, knowing that the world is changing, like how do you see yourself now, like what is your current philosophy of like managing risks, going outside the borders, being uncommon?
I think if I look back at my journey, like even like when you talk about the injuries, right, we talk about going to all these different places. I think that maybe the average individual, maybe I am the average individual, but maybe they would have just gave up or stopped, did something else. I think all those experiences like have made me want to take even more risk, right? So like I came back from an ACL injury, and I came back from back-to-back ACL injuries. I came back from growing. There's all these things where like I feel like I could have gave up, but I feel like they've all been like these like learning lessons for me personally, saying like, okay, hey Hassan, things are gonna get more difficult in life, but for you to do these things, it's gonna take another level. But because you've been through this, you can do it.
Yeah. So like, have you ever had kombucha?
Yeah, I love kombucha.
Okay, well I don't. I think it is an acquired taste, right? So there are things that are like, either you love it or you don't. Like they're what I think acquired taste. Yeah. You're an acquired taste, right? And I think I'm polarizing. Like you either love me or you're not a fan. Like you, same thing for you. Like there are some people that are very malleable. They can fit in anywhere, anyhow. I don't think I've ever had a deep connection with the person that is all encompassing as it relates to likability. Like I like those polarizing people. Like I gravitate towards those people. Like, you're in love with them or you don't like them because I think I'm like that. Yeah. Right. And you're definitely like that.
That's probably why we get to we get along.
But that's the thing. So like, as you find that, like, and this is one thing I struggle with is in business, like where do you find, because I think a current student athlete can value from this, insight, current coaches and anybody aspiring, like parents or whatever, like knowing that you might be an acquired taste, right?
Yeah.
And being in those positions, like how do you navigate that, whether it's with your social interactions and your professional interactions?
Yeah. So I'll tell you this, like, I know that not everyone is gonna. There's sometimes I don't even like me, like but the beauty I think about business is this doesn't go for if you have a regular job. You have the ability to say yes and no to anybody. If somebody doesn't like you, you don't have to work with them. Somebody loves you, you can work with them, and it'll be an amazing relationship. You have so much fun. So I think that knowing myself, that's really good, right? Like I get to choose that. As an employee, because I was an employee for 10 years, I think if you know yourself, I think you just have to figure out a way to operate, right? You got to sometimes you got to play the game, and you just got to find that sweet spot, right? And if that environment's not for you, find another environment, because there's going to be a place that accepts you for who you are.
Yeah.
100%, right? Some people try to fit, like you put a peg into, like, it's like, actually you're supposed to be in this puzzle. Yeah. That's where you're supposed to be. So, and you have the ability to move. You can go somewhere else, right? And I think it's I learn as I go. Sometimes, like, for instance, like, you know me, like I'd say, like, I'm pretty loud and like just obnoxious and like, but I need to sometimes, for instance, we've built a relationship now for more than 10 years, right? So I can like authentically be myself, but there's this buildup of like, oh, you know who I am, right? Compared to if I'm like that with someone right off the bat, it may not gel at all. So I just need to, like, have, like you said, even with athletes, you got to build up a little bit trust first. And not that I'm being fake, but you just got to slowly go into it, right? So I'm trying to do that a little bit more often.
No, yeah. It's definitely one of those things for me as well, just because, again, like, you got to manage that.
Yeah.
Yeah. My last thing is, like, I want to definitely leave off because, I'm currently always trying to help my current and future Cerritos College student athletes and people that I work with and deal with on a regular basis. But when it comes specifically for community college, knowing that you're a product of the community college, you're successful, you're doing well, you're a leader in your community and things like that. What are some words of advice you would give to whether it's a current or future community college student?
That's a really, really good question. I think as a community college student, so you're more, I see community college kids as, like, one, really smart because they're saving money on, going to college right out the bat. It's okay to go to, it's okay to go there. And number two is try to get around people that have either done what you want to do, or maybe can help guide you in what you want to do. That way you can start formalizing a plan, right? So, like, even for your athletic career, can you slowly formalize a plan? Because everyone's plan is going to be different, right? I can say, hey, go work as hard as you can in this sport, because then it's like, but maybe that might be the wrong advice. Yeah. But I think if you can get around the right people to help you formalize a plan, then you'll know, once you have a plan, you'll know where you can go all in at. I think having just a rough blueprint, doesn't have to be, you can always change it too, but having a rough plan, whether in your athletic career, whether in your studies, whether with work, having just a rough plan and knowing someone that's either gone through that phase in their life, and ask them for advice. Hey, like, what do you think? Do this, do that. Because a lot of people have done, no one's doing anything new really these days, right? So I think if you align yourself with the right people, put together a soft plan, once you do that, you can really trust the process at that point, right? And I think one thing for me when I was in community college is there were some times where I wasn't able to trust the process, but now, like, if you find that right person, just listen. Like, you got to put away your ego and you really trust them. Trust that process. Like, there's going to be days where it absolutely sucks. Like, you do the shortest long jump, or you can't even get over a hurdle that day. Everything hurts. Guess what? It's part of the process. And that's okay, right? If everything feels good all the time, it's probably something's probably off, right? So be okay with it and just trust it. Find the right people, make a soft plan, and be okay to go for it. Just go for it. It's okay. At the end of the world is actually not that bad. For some people, it may be, but also put that plan together. What happens if what does failure actually mean? Yeah. How bad could it actually get? Oh, it's actually not that bad? Once you know it's actually not that bad, you can really pour it on. So
You kind of put a face to the monster under the bed kind of thing. Yeah.
Hey, we're friends now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
No, I appreciate you so much. Always look up, super proud of you and all your
Appreciate
success and everything you got going. But with becoming uncommon, I mean, it's going to take different routes and it's going to be a totally different road than what you can ever forecast. But, you know, greatness is right around the corner. I hope you got something from this. I definitely did. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye.